Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan TV. Hope you guys are all nice and warm. It's a bit cold outside, a bit wet, a bit wintry feeling already, and I think that's just going to apparently set to continue and get worse and get colder. So let's try and warm you up today, guys. I'm going to talk about a kid called Rabbi Matondo. Now, Rabbi, you must have heard, if you follow City to any degree, that Bayern Munich are after Rabbi Matondo. So let's have a look at Rabbi Matondo. Let's give us some stats and see what the guy's all about and see why Bayern Munich and a host of other German clubs are interested in him. Well, Rabbi Matondo, he's an 18-year-old kid. I think he was 18 back in September time, something like that. So he's only just turned 18. And he plays on the right wing for the under-23s in the, I think it's the Premier League 2 or something like that they call it. But it's under-23s league. Now, he's an exciting talent. He's very, very fast. I've seen him live, and yes, I can confirm he's very, very fast indeed. I mean, some people are actually saying that he may be faster than Leroy, Sané and Kyle Walker. I'm not sure they've had a race yet, but I'd love to see those three go head to head, so to speak. And you know, excuse me, a drag race between Rabbi Matondo, Kyle Walker, and Leroy Sané. I don't know who your money's on, but you know they're going to have some motor to beat Rabbi Matondo. So Rabbi Matondo, so as I said, he's 18 years old. He was born in Liverpool, but he, as a kid, I think they moved out to South Wales, and actually he now plays for the Wales national team, or the Welsh national team. He's made he's won one cap so far, so it's a good start for him. But his contract, it ends next summer. So summer 2020, just over about 18 months time, if that, he's gone. His contract will finish and he's not signing a new contract. And, you know, I think the reason, or the reasons he's not signing a new contract is just like other kids at the moment are not signing new contracts. Just look at what he's got ahead of him. You've got a first team with Leroy Sané. You've got a first team with Raheem Sterling. Now those two are two of the most exciting young talents who play out wide, not just in England, in Europe. So they are, you know, it's very, very hard to get ahead of them, and you can see that with Riyad Mahrez. He's not managed to get ahead of them, and he's 27 years old, Premier League winner, Player of the Year. You know, so someone of his quality and standard can't get in ahead of Sané and Sterling. We've seen Brahim Diaz leave. Why? Because he can't get in the team, you know. And he went for 15.5 million quid to Real Madrid. He plays out wide, mainly on the left, but he can't get in the first team. He struggles to even get into the squad. And Rabbi Matondo is a year behind Brahim Diaz. He's not got as much exposure, as much experience. I mean, at least Brahim has had a little bit more experience around the first team training. Excuse me, cough's not gone away. Around the first team training, he's had experience playing on tour with the first team. So he's at a slightly higher level than Rabbi. And if Brahim can't get anywhere, what chance has Rabbi got? You know, you'd have to really have phenomenal talent. You've really got to believe in yourself, to know that your ability that you've got, your hard work will fulfill your potential, and you'll get ahead of these guys. But as I said, it's really tough to get ahead of Raheem Sterling and Leroy Sané right now. So Rabbi's got to look at his options, and as many other kids coming through the academy do, that's what you've got to do. You've got to look at your options. You know, I don't think there's any doubt that most of these kids would love to make it at Man City. Absolute a dream come true for most of them. But they realise they're not silly enough to think that can actually happen for every single one of them. They're sensible enough, and the teams around them, agents and families and whatever, advisors, are sensible enough to know that yes, it's a great dream, but it's not likely to be fulfilled for most of them. So they've got to look elsewhere. So they'll look at what's happened to other kids. They'll look at Jadon Sancho, for instance. Now he's gone off to Germany with Dortmund, and he's doing fantastically well for an 18-year-old kid, scoring goals, creating assists, and getting games. It didn't start like that. You know, he had to slowly break into the team, but now he seems to be doing really well. And they look at that and they think, why not? You know, we can go there. Yes, they're going to earn probably more money than City would pay. And to be honest, you can be set for life. You know, you get a contract worth 30 grand a week for 5 years. You know, if you look after yourself and look after your money, you'll be all right for quite a while, even if you don't make it in the long term as a footballer. But an opportunity to go to the German Bundesliga with a team like Dortmund or Bayern Munich, you know, it's not one to be sniffed at. These are big teams, great support. You know, okay, it's a different language, but look, I spent a lot of time in Germany. A lot of friends who are German. Their English is pretty damn good. In fact, their English is a lot better than the English spoken by some of the English over here. So, you know, there's no big worry about the language and the culture and all that. You know, I think that these youngsters will fit in. It's no big deal. So let's look at who's trying to buy him, who's really interested. In the papers are saying it's Bayern Munich at the forefront, and they're offering about 10 million quid for Rabbi Matondo. It's a decent amount of money for City. And I mean, they are looking around because they've been looking at that Chelsea kid, Hudson-Odoi. They've been looking at him, and they were talking about paying, was it 30 million quid? Heck of a lot of money. Heck of a lot of money for a kid who's hardly ever played for Chelsea. So the German clubs seem to be wanting to pay big money to get the players. I mean, Jadon Sancho was 10 million for Dortmund, so they're quite happy to pay the money because they look at it as a long-term investment, or even a short-term. I mean, Dortmund bought Dembele quite cheap and sold him for well over 150 million quid or whatever it was. A ridiculous amount of money, far too much in my opinion for someone who'd played well, but for not long enough. You hadn't proven yourself. So these German clubs are quite happy to pay the money because they see Rabbi Matondo and other kids like that from England as cheap buys. And if you get the right one, like Dortmund did with Dembele, you sell him on and you make a lot of money. Like Sancho, I mean, they paid 10 million quid for him or so. And right now, if you wanted to buy Jadon Sancho, I don't believe these £100 million quotes and all that. I'd suggest he'd be 40 to 50 million quid because he's fulfilling some of his potential and he's only 18 years old. So, you know, if you say buy him for 10 million quid, a year later he's worth 50 million quid, happy days. So you can see why the clubs are doing that. Now, which clubs are interested? Obviously, the ones I mentioned, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, there's Borussia Mönchengladbach, they're interested, and RB Leipzig. And I'm probably sure there'll be others who are interested as well. Maybe the fact that Dortmund and Bayern Munich are interested pushes the price up a little bit. But as I said, 10 million quid, it's nothing to be sniffed at from City. And from City's point of view, look, you know, we've said it time and time again, the academy is simply not there to have a conveyor belt of kids coming through to the first team. It's impossible because you've got to look at the squads involved in each of these youth levels. So, you know, the academy squad's got 20 players or whatever, the EDS, 20 players, whatever. So you've got all these kids coming through and they're not going to make it into the first team. Only the cream of the crop will make it through. That's why very few have got through. I mean, there was, as I said, Jadon Sancho, Brahim Diaz and Phil Foden. They came through. Sancho went last year. Diaz has gone now. And the other one that stays is Foden. So that's the way it's just going to be. You have to be exceptionally good to make it through just the first team training, then to the first team squad and get on the bench. And that's where Phil Foden is right now. So, you know, we've got to forget that this utopian idea or that these kids, we're going to have, you know, a team full of Manx within 5 years. It's not going to happen. You know, to be honest, I'd be happy if you got 1, 2 or 3, something like that, you know, in the next 5 years, because that's just how I see it. But City see the academy as well as getting a few diamonds coming through. It's a money-making machine, let's say, and maybe that's a bit vulgar to say that about these kids, but in effect, that's what it is. It's there to make money. And we're making a lot of money on these kids. There was Kelechi Iheanacho a couple of seasons ago, went to Leicester, 25 million. Angus Gunn, and he came through the system, 1 year on loan at Norwich, sold for about 12 or 13 million to Southampton. And it goes on. We have kids who don't even come to the country and we sell them on. There's Enes Ünal, Turkish kid, bought him for I think 2 million, sold him for 12 million a year later. He never even came to the club. And then we've got lots of others. So we do make a lot of money from selling the kids. And we'll guess it's going to be about 50 million a year. I think that's Roughly what they made last year was about 40 odd million. So that's including loan fees and selling the kids on. So 40 to 50 million quid, that buys you just about, in the old days it would, but it buys you just about a first team ready-made player. So maybe that's one way of looking at it. You will unearth some diamonds along the way, but you've got to let a lot of kids go, and you can't be too romantic and heartbroken about losing these kids. It's just going to happen. There's going to be more and more instances, more and more cases like this. We've got so many kids coming through. If you're getting 20 kids a season coming through, how many are going to make it? You'd be lucky to get one. So we can see 50 kids leaving for everyone that makes it. So it's nothing to cry about and nothing to get heartbroken about. It's just as it is, and this is what it is. It's going to happen. A little bit more about stats about Rabbi, just to see how he's been doing this season. As I said, he plays in the Premier League 2, that's the under-23s league. Now, he's played 11 games there. He scored 6 goals and 4 assists, so he's been involved with 10 goals in 11 games. Pretty decent return. In the UEFA Youth League, which is probably where more of the European teams saw him, even though they'll probably keep tabs on kids coming through at other clubs, this is where they really got a chance to see him. He played 6 games, where he scored 1 goal and had 1 assist. And he's played in the EFL Trophy, that's the Checkatrade Trophy, to you and me, Checkatrade Trophy. He's played 4 games, 2 goals, 1 assist. Now, I've seen him play, and I couldn't believe it the first time I saw him play. He was like on fire. The speed he had, the pace to burn, it was incredible. It was like he turned the afterburners on. Honestly, it's like he was supercharged. The way he zipped down that wing, he was absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe it. And when I saw him the first time, I was watching a Checkatrade Trophy game, and he was on the far side of the pitch, unbelievable. And then the second half, he was on my side of the pitch. And once again, every time he got the ball, the crowd were buzzing because he was so fast. He had so much ahead of him, and you just wanted to see what he could do. And I spoke to him briefly after the game, and he actually does come across as a really nice lad too. So I remember telling him, I mean, what do I know? I always say this, what do I know? Because he got really frustrated when I think he got fouled and the ref or the linesman didn't give the decision, and he was really, really frustrated. And I think he was either banging his hand on the turf or whatever. He was complaining about the decision, where really, maybe it's just because I'm older and you're not going to get the decision, mate. And I said, get up, get back and help your team, because the other team have got the ball and they're going away. And part of your job, you're an attacker, but you've got to defend as well. So I said a few words to him, and he kind of accepted it. I mean, maybe he just, listened to this old fool talking and giving him some advice. As I said, what do I know? But he was nice enough to be polite, and I think he signed my shirt as well. I was there with my kids, so yeah, it was a great evening for us. So yeah, Rabbi Matondo is a great kid. I like him a lot. I think he has got a good potential ahead of him. He's not ready yet. Some people said, oh, maybe he should be on the bench. Please do us a favour. He's not ready yet. He's not at that level. If Brahim Diaz was struggling to get on the bench, and I think he's a notch up in development, I mean, maybe it's just because he's got that extra year on Rabbi. But if Brahim Diaz couldn't get on the bench, what chance has Rabbi Matondo got? So there's no point saying, oh, he should be on the bench and he should be playing and he should be getting chances. He's just simply not good enough or developed enough yet to get those chances at Manchester City. And to be quite honest, with the team we've got in front of him, like I said, with Sané and Sterling and Mahrez there, and Bernardo playing wide as well on the right mostly, it's going to be very tough for Rabbi to break through at Man City. So these options to go abroad, even though City want him to sign a new contract, you can see why, as I said, why the kids don't do it. But, whatever happens to Rabbi, it looks like he will go abroad, and Germany looks like a good option. I wish him all the best at Man City Fan TV. I think we, both Andy and I, will wish him all the best. It's a shame. If he'd come through 5 years ago, he'd be there, I think, at City. Yeah, he'd have a very, very good chance. He's just up against too much strong opposition, and that's actually going to hurt his development. And so he needs to be playing at a higher level to develop further, and to stick around at City for 2 or 3 years, hoping you're going to get a chance. Yes, you're still young enough, but you feel it probably is the time to move on. If he was training with the first team on a regular or permanent basis, I might feel slightly different because you know it's who you're playing with. You know, you're training with these top players. You're learning from Pep. But if you're just in the EDS, the under 23s, then maybe you know it is time to move on, to move to a higher stage, and to develop itself even further. Guys, if you've got, as I said yesterday, if you've got any ideas of kids you want us to talk about, either whether the kids at City at the moment that might be looking to leave, or you seeing how, or you want to see how they develop, or kids that we might be interested from other clubs or transfer targets, just let us know in the description below, and we'll do our best to check them out. See you around, Blues.